March 1945 in Remagen, Germany. The rain here does not wash the world clean. It turns the earth into a gray, clinging soup that swallows boots and hope alike. The sky is a bruised purple, heavy with the smoke of burning trucks and the relentless freezing drizzle of the Rhineland basin. Elfriede Voss stops walking, not because she wants to, but because her legs simply refuse the command. She's 22 years old, a former telegraph operator from a suburb of Cologne, where the cathedral spires now overlook mountains of rubble. Her uniform, once a symbol of order, is now just a collection of rags, stiff with mud and the sweat of a month-long retreat. Around her, the chaos of surrender unfolds. Thousands of German troops are being herded into the makeshift enclosures along the river, a sea of field-gray wool, turning black in the rain. Elfriede is not a combatant, not really, but to the advancing Allied forces, she is part of the machine that broke the world. She is the enemy. She shivers, the damp cold gnawing through the thin fabric of her coat, biting into her marrow. The stories whispered in the bunkers have terrified her for weeks. They said the Americans were vengeful cowboys, that they shot prisoners to save the trouble of feeding them. Every shout from a guard sounds like a death sentence. Every click of a rifle bolt sounds like the end. A soldier next to her, a boy no older than 16, weeps silently, wiping his nose on a sleeve that is already frozen solid. They are being corralled into a sector designated for female auxiliaries and support staff, a cage within a cage. There is no roof, only the weeping sky and the mud that sucks at their ankles. Then, the wind shifts. It cuts through the stench of diesel fuel, latrines, and wet wool. It carries something impossible. It carries a ghost from a life Elfriede thought was dead and buried under the ruins of her home. It smells of sugar. It smells of cinnamon and baked dough. It smells of a kitchen in a time before sirens. The aroma is so sharp, so alien in this landscape of iron and rot, that Elfriede lifts her head. Her stomach twists, a violent reminder that she has eaten nothing but hardtack and snow for 3 days. She follows the scent, her eyes tracking the movement of the other women. They are drifting toward a field kitchen set up near the perimeter wire, drawn like moths to a flame. The fear is still there, pulsing in her throat, but the hunger is a louder, more primal scream. Behind the steaming vats stands Sergeant Silas O'Malley. He is 34, a mechanic turned mess sergeant from Macon, Georgia. He has red hair that defies the regulation cut, and hands that look like they could crush a wrench or cradle a bird. He does not look like a conqueror. He looks tired. Silas scrapes the bottom of a massive aluminum pot. He looks at the line of women shuffling toward him. He sees the dirt, the hollow cheeks, the terror in their eyes, that they try to hide behind a mask of stoicism. He knows he should hate them. He has seen what their army did in the Ardennes, but the war is ending, and Silas is a man who feeds people. Elfriede reaches the front of the line. She holds out her tin cup, her fingers blue and trembling. She does not look him in the eye. She stares at the ladle, waiting for him to shout, to deny her, to pour the slop on the ground. This is the moment, she thinks. This is where the cruelty begins. Silas dips the ladle deep. Brings it up heavy, with a substance that glows bright orange and gold in the gray light. It is peach cobbler, canned Georgia peaches, dehydrated dough, and enough sugar to make a dentist weep. It is the food of his childhood, cooked in a field of death. He dumps the heavy, steaming portion into Elfriede's cup. The sound is wet and solid. The heat radiates through the thin metal, stinging her frozen fingers. It is a pain she welcomes. It is the first warmth she has felt since the bridge fell. She steps away, guarding the cup with her body as if it contains diamonds. She finds a spot near a fence post, sinking into a crouch. She brings the cup to her face. The steam hits her skin, condensing on her eyelashes. It smells of summer. It smells of peace. She lifts the spoon. The crust is soggy, the peaches are mushy, and it looks like a mess. She takes the first bite. The flavor explodes in her mouth, an aggressive, overwhelming sweetness that shocks her system. The syrup coats her tongue. The dough offers a heavy, comforting resistance. It burns her throat on the way down, a trail of fire that settles in her empty stomach. She gasps, dropping the spoon. Her vision blurs. Tears spill over her cheeks, cutting clean tracks through the grime on her face. "Sais?" Crying, she sobs, her shoulders shaking, her chest heaving. She is not crying because of the defeat. She is not crying because of the cold. She is crying because of the kindness, the shock of something sweet, given freely by a hand that holds a gun. Breaks the dam she has built inside herself. The cup is empty in seconds. She scrapes the metal until it shines, chasing the last smear of syrup. The hunger is not gone. The sugar has only woken it up. It roars now. She looks back at the field kitchen. The line has thinned. Sis stands up. Her brain screams at her to stop. To go back for seconds is forbidden. It is theft. Prisoners are shot for less. But the memory of that warmth is a drug. She joins the line again, pulling her collar up, trying to shrink inside her coat, trying to be invisible. She shuffles forward, the mud clinging to her boots, dragging her down. Every step is a gamble. She watches the sergeant. He is scraping the sides of the pot now. There is not much left. If he recognizes her, if he sees her greed, the game is over. She reaches the front. She holds out the same dirty cup. She keeps her head down, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. She waits for the yell. She waits for the back of his hand. Silas pauses. He looks at the cup. He looks at the woman. He sees the clean tracks of tears on her face. He recognizes the scarf. He knows she was just here. He knows the regulations. He dips the ladle. He scrapes the very bottom, pulling up the thickest, most burnt, most sugary clumps of dough and fruit. He piles it into a cup until it mounds over the rim. He leans forward, resting his elbows on the serving table. His voice is a low rumble, scratching through the damp air. He does not speak German, but he speaks the language of the kitchen. "Careful now," Silas says, a small, tired smile breaking the grime on his face. Peach cobbler's hut. "Don't burn your tongue twice." Elfriede does not understand the words, but she understands the tone. It is not the bark of a guard. It is the voice of a man speaking to a woman, not a soldier speaking to a target. She nods, a jerky, frightened motion, and retreats into the gray rain, the cup burning her hands, the sweetness already on her lips. 53 years later, 1998. Atlanta, Georgia. The heat is different. Here humid, thick, smelling of pine needles and asphalt. An old woman stands in front of a small diner on the outskirts of the city. She wears a silk scarf, despite the warmth. Elfriede Voss walks.
Elfriede Voss walks inside?
The diner smells of coffee and frying bacon. She sits at a booth with red vinyl seats. A man in his 40s approaches her. He has red hair, thinning now, but the same jawline. He is the son of the man who cooked in the mud. She orders without looking at the menu. She asks for the cobbler. When it arrives, it is on a ceramic plate, not in a tin cup. It has ice cream on top. It looks refined. She takes a bite. The taste is there, the peaches, the sugar, the dough. But the secret ingredient is missing. The ingredient was the cold rain of Rena. The ingredient was the fear of death. The ingredient was the mercy of an enemy. She puts the spoon down and looks at the sun. She tells him the story. She tells him about the mud and the hunger. She tells him about the man who gave her seconds when he should have given her nothing. The war drew lines on maps and built walls between nations. It turned humans into numbers and neighbors into monsters. But in the steam of a field kitchen, over a ladle of canned fruit, the lines blurred. History is written in treaties and battles, in the movement of armies and the fall of empires. But humanity survives in the small, unauthorized moments. It survives in the decision to feed a hungry girl twice. Elfriede leaves the diner. The taste of peaches lingers in her mouth, sweet and heavy. It is the taste of a memory that outlived the hate. In the end, We are not defined by the flags we fly or the uniforms we wear. We are defined by what we offer when the world expects us to take. Sometimes, salvation does not come from a treaty. Sometimes, it comes in a tin cup, hot enough to burn, sweet enough to save your soul.